And good Tuesday morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray as we wake up and begin the day with a 75 with we got a 60% chance of showers today. That's mainly going to come into the forecast sometime between 3 to 5 p.m. this afternoon. Right along in there. Otherwise, it's going to be warm. 91, our heat index should reach 98. And I hope this is just not what's the word I'm looking for? The way the day is going to be. We start this morning with sad news as we have to report that a wreck has happened this morning. Highway 45. Let's take a look at the map here of what we've got this morning. This just happened a little bit after 5:30. An accident was reported near Lauderdale. Let me zoom this up where you can see this a little bit better. A vehicle versus pedestrian. This will be directly in front of the CEFCO on Highway 45 in the northbound lane. The Mississippi Highway Patrol is on scene now. 45 northbound lane is shut down at this moment as emergency officials work to clear the accident. We don't know much more than that at this point. We don't know condition. We just know that a person was struck by a vehicle. We don't know what caused the accident, but it happened in the dark. And then there's that possibility of there could have been fog involved this morning, as the forecast does hint that it is out there in areas. So if you're in the area of Highway 45, you've got to travel north toward Lauderdale or anywhere past that. Expect delays in the northbound lane. Southbound lane still flowing at this point. I'm not quite sure if it's where you could take the right and loop around behind the CEFCO, Old 45, and then come back out on the other side by Dollar General. Unclear at this point. That's a possibility, but expect delays if you're traveling north this morning through that area. We do send out prayers, condolences. We don't know much more than that this morning, but I just hope, I was trying to think of the words for it, and I hope this doesn't set the tone of the day. Let's keep a little prayer in there and hope everybody's going to be okay in that. We also overnight learned, and we don't know much more other than we do have a victim, a person that received a gunshot wound in Meridian. As we pull up our headline this morning, as we go to sammedia.network, if you haven't read this morning in the story, we do know that one person was shot overnight in the leg. They were wounded. We don't have the exact location as we wait for a full report from the Meridian Police Department to tell us more about this, of what went on. But we do know that it was non-life threatening, but someone was hit. They did manage to make themselves to the emergency room. All too often, as we get that location, I do know that it was within the city limits of Meridian. We know that much. We hope to get more information on this, as this is a pretty much breaking story. You hate to report these things, but these things do happen. And we all need to know what goes on after dark when they do come about. The next thing that we wanted to, I know that we're also working on a story of deputies involved in a chase last night, a car chase. Once the car came to a stop at Heritage Apartments, the person jumped out on foot and was rather quick. High stepping. We'll learn more about that this morning as well as we get into these stories as we begin today. Want to remind you of this as you're waking up. Also, this goes into effect today. As many of you travel Highway 493 in the Meridian area that use Bunton Gun Road. That is going to be closed today from 8 o'clock until 3 p.m. Now, it's open at this point, but you've roughly got about an hour to get there to use this as we pull this up to show you what's going on here. It's closed. They're going to be paving this stretch. This is Highway 493 right here. Let's click on this, see how clear we can get that. Zoom in a little bit better there. This is Highway 493 here, and this is a cut through. This is Windsor Road that goes up to where Plant the Earth and the old E.V. Harrington store was there on Poplar Springs Drive. They're repaving this. As you'll remember, that bridge was out down in this lower portion here with gravel on it. They're going to be paving that, and a lot of people will be happy over that. You no longer will slide when you come across that area with the gravel, will you? But they're working on that today. So keep it in mind in your travels to go a different route. You'd have to go, Dogwood Lake, and then hang a right up on Cook Road to come out in that same area if you're going to be trying to go around that. We pass along condolences as we're not going to release a name yet until I'm 100% sure that all involved is 100% notified and know all of this. We pass along condolences, though, as we learned yesterday, of an accident that happened. It would be just to the northwest of Dekalb, Mississippi, on an EMEPA job site. We understand that an accident happened there on Highway 397 to where someone was struck with a portion of a tree and would later pass away from those injuries. Might not be the exact wording of how to say that, but we sincerely pass along condolences to family members and co-workers that were involved, saw all of this, that were close friends. It's a tight network of linemen. How tragedy strikes, and from the bottom of our heart, it's just I can't come up with the words to say. Randy Carroll said, today we're reminded how quickly things can impact our team. Our employees face challenges every day and many nights. Today we face losing one of our own. We grieve with his family and ask for time to heal, and we do that. Each time is, we all know that power is reported out during storms. These guys face many challenges, and how sad that is. We'll leave that at that. As we get more details as this develops, we'll pass along more information on that. How are you feeling today? I hope good as we begin a Tuesday. We've got today and tomorrow, and then we're going to be done with August. Can you believe that? September right around the corner there. Now, I did get a report yesterday. I got a lot of comments that said, what in the world is going on over at Crystal's? I saw fire trucks. I saw a lot of different things. Spring is here, and it's time to quit spending all of your weekend cutting grass when you could step up to a Skag zero-turn mower. Freeman Tractor in Collinsville has the #1 rated zero-turn mower, Skag, with cutting widths from 36 inches to 72 inches. Skag, the #1 choice of professional landscapers because they know nothing outcuts or outlasts a Skag. 0% financing for 48 months with payments starting as low as $129 a month. Stop by Freeman Tractor on Highway 494 and see coleslaw or buttermilk. Had to adjust a button. Sorry about that. We're back. A big thank you to Freeman for helping us out there. But anyway, I did get a report of what is going over near the Crystals. And it was a fire report in the wall. The Meridian Fire Department showed up and quickly put that out. Thank goodness on that. We're so thankful for that happening and nothing serious to do with that. As we glance down we had a bunch of fender benders yesterday. As we look around Meridian, no serious injuries with that, thank heavens. Now, as we start to looking toward Jackson, as the governor of the state of Mississippi has declared a state of emergency for us, we're getting word that absolutely in no way should you drink the water in Jackson. All schools in Jackson, Mississippi are looking at moving to virtual learning due to the water issues. You can't have the children there during this. So that is one thing that we're looking at in Jackson. As I said, the water system is failing. They're distributing water throughout the city, and it's indefinite. We don't know how long this will last as we look at what is going on in the Jackson area. We look to the governor to give us more details on that, as well as the mayor of Jackson. Pretty serious there. If you remember the Hinds County Election Commission, do you remember the fraud Shad White brought out? We had one woman that was connected with this that has pleaded guilty. Of course, when it all went down, everybody says, I'm not guilty. Since then, a guilty verdict has been entered by one. There was about 4 people involved in that. A lot of money taken. Shad White's really doing his job for the state of Mississippi. A lot of people say, will Shad White run for governor? That's an interesting thought, isn't it? I can't say that I've ever seen anybody in politics that pays really no attention to politics. Most of the time, as we all know, in areas in government, politics is played. Shad White seems to march to his own beat, doesn't he? Sounds like the man. Can't say that about everybody that's in that government, can we? Disturbing. As it has a good ending to this, but this was a big story yesterday as I spoke to some of the people that I know in the Jackson, Mississippi area, as a woman went to a Jackson, Mississippi animal shelter to drop off a dog. They were told that they were full and could not accept a puppy. She went out to her car and turned the dog loose in the middle of the road. The dog was saved, and that's good news. No word yet if charges are going to be filed against her for doing that. Not kind to do that at all, is it? There's a lot of folks in shelters out there that help out with these situations. Good morning, Derek Bell. Glad to see you there. Donna Hawkins is up. Hadn't seen you in a while. Good morning. Elizabeth Graham says she is praying for those family members involved in all of this. It is. Kathy Sharp joins us from the big city of Union today. Ralph Fortenberry, morning. Hayden Robertson said he just came through 45. Traffic is almost stopped back to Lauderdale Road that leads into Dalewood. The wreck is just south of the store. So again, if you're just tuning in on this, we brought this up just a moment ago. The wreck on Highway 45 at Lauderdale, it does involve a vehicle and a person. Traffic is at a standstill. The northbound lane is where it's blocked as Meridian Mississippi Highway Patrol is on scene. Emergency officials, volunteer fire department from Lauderdale. It's a scene this morning as you get there. Now, this may not be a bad idea for the entire state of Mississippi as we look at this. As I look to Starkville for a headline, maybe this would curb problems that we're having. But when you go to football games, Starkville School District is looking at if you come to a ball game, everything must be in a clear bag. I know it sounds ridiculous to say, well, you can't wear or bring your Gucci, but at this point with what goes on, it's gotten a little bit more serious, and they need to see as metal detectors for sporting events may go into effect in those areas. Is that what we need to do to stop this? It may be as we look around the state. Maybe that's what needs to happen here. Clear bags and metal detectors for safety. Never thought I would say that about little old Mississippi, did y'all? I truly didn't. But things have gotten out of hand. And we'll be talking about some more issues in our area this morning at 8. I hope you'll join us for that. I've got some stories that we're not going to bring up here that we'll have this morning coming up at 8 a.m. Join me and Candace as we'll bring those stories there. Jones County, 2 arrested after a man was shot in the foot. Woo! That's bad, isn't it? They got him for doing that. A person has died in a rollover crash on I-59 as well in Jones County. Awful. Happened yesterday. They responded to it at 6:30 yesterday morning near the airport exit, mile marker 76. A car had flipped, lost control, and a person lost her life on a Mississippi highway. We hate to report those stories, but they do happen each and every day. Drive careful, buckle up. We can't stress that enough. A grand jury, this is good for police officers, as we look to Gulfport, Mississippi this morning for headlines of things that are going on. A grand jury in Harrison County has cleared Gulfport officers of any wrongdoing in a 2021 shooting. That is good. The officers involved was back in February. Officers fired a shot. They were cleared of this. That's good. They have to do their job. We all know that. Have y'all heard this? And I don't know how you tell the difference, but there's experts. I just hadn't watched enough of swamp people, I guess, to be able to glance at an alligator and know the difference between a male and a female. They both scare me, and no, I don't want to go hunting. Y'all can have that end of that. But a new state record has been set for the state of Mississippi, 10 foot 2 inches of a female alligator. Pretty big deal there. That's a big boy as we look around the state of this. Y'all be careful out there if you do that. There's not room for mistake in that sport. I mentioned in the headlines this morning about a Mississippi couple. And you hate to speculate, so I won't. But Monroe, Louisiana, if you were to get on the interstate, I-20, go west, go through Vicksburg, Delhi, you end up in Monroe, Louisiana before long. Roughly a little over 4 hours from here. Mississippi couple has been arrested at the Quality Inn in Monroe. Why? They were boyfriend, girlfriend, and, well, he ran a quick ad there to pimp his girlfriend out. Cops didn't find it so interesting as others did. A little jail time for that. I'll leave it at that, but that did happen there as we look to that. We have someone else trying to intimidate that's been arrested in Mississippi for intimidating a witness. You can't have that. This is Oxford, Mississippi. That tags with a felony. Bond set at $10,000 as we look at that. It dealt with a domestic violence case. Thought he'd threaten them. That probably goes on more times than not, doesn't it? Probably not everybody knows about what goes on behind this. We look to North Mississippi. Had actually South Mississippi, Natchez. A church was struck. The church bell was struck by lightning in the area. I'll be careful during these storms when we talk about lightning. It is very dangerous, as we've seen several times here lately, to where people are injured. Even death occurs. Washington, D.C., we saw that. A Mississippi youngster writing a book about anti-bullying. Bullying. Did I say that correctly? Bullying? Only 10 years old. It's a great start. A lot of writers have started even earlier than that. That's good. I hope that works out for them. We see that 2 Birmingham officers have been injured during a chase. And you would think that, well, they were injured in the car wreck or something happened. That wasn't the case. 2 Birmingham officers were in hot pursuit of a stolen vehicle. They swung around, got after them. The bad guys wrecked the car. They took off on foot. The 2 officers jumped out after them. Wouldn't be long to where they just couldn't hang, and, well, their hips were hurt. They had to be taken to the hospital after that big foot chase there. I'm not making fun of anybody. I'm just telling you the facts of foot chases aren't for everybody. That's why you see all these police officers work it out in gyms all the time, because it is more than not a very athletic job. You just don't think of that. The old days when you watch 1 Adam 12, it was pretty much a simple thing. Times have changed. Birmingham, we look at this, and I think we've all can relate to this. Have you ever gotten a water bill and you go, that's not my water bill. There's no way that mine is that high. The mayor holds a weekly press conference on Facebook. And, well, he said good morning to everybody, and he named out the water department. He had gotten a complaint from a constituent. Is that the way you say that? I may have said that improperly. But a lady within the city that got a bill who had been out of town for 15 days on vacation and returned home to get a $451 water bill. He said there's no accountability. They're not checking the water bills correctly, and she didn't know it. He shamed them, and he wished everybody a good morning except them. We've all gotten those. You know that. It can be a small leak. I even talked to someone not long ago that their bill was $10,000. Had a leak underground. Didn't know it. Not locally. This was out of state that I talked to, but gosh, that's bad, isn't it? We looked to some national stories this morning as we broke that story of the grocery store shooting that happened in Oregon. Do you remember that? He was a 20-year-old. Sadly, the man that stopped others from getting killed lost his life as he wrestled with the gunman. He ended up getting hit. He was 66 years old, and also an 85-year-old man died. The gunman would then turn the gun on himself and kill himself. But police are hailing the person as a hero, the 66-year-old, for wrestling with the man. They said if he hadn't done that, others would have surely passed away during that. Here's something, and do you think it can actually happen? As we look at headlines this morning, we also were Mark Zuckerberg, associated with Facebook, said that the FBI contacted Facebook and told them to downplay the Hunter Biden story of the laptop. Y'all seen this in the headlines, I'm sure, by now. The GOP senators are demanding now that Facebook turn over all paperwork associated with this to where America can see what the FBI asks. That's interesting, isn't it? Do I think anything will come of it? Probably not. They're asking. We'll see what happens. What would happen if the shoe was on the other foot? We don't know. We'll see what happens with this, though. Interesting as we start to getting headlines on this. Coming up, we got more on the way. Don't rush off. We're going to talk about weather and recap some of our bigger stories that we're working on this morning of where you need to watch traffic this morning. All on the way here as we begin your day.
Health Now is your locally owned medical equipment store. Every person's need is a little different, and they offer a little bit of everything from hospital beds, wheelchairs, reclining back wheelchairs, breathing treatments, CPAPs and supplies. They even have walkers, bath products, and oxygen. And the great thing about Health Now is they offer same-day service. They're open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and on call 24/7. Health Now Medical Equipment, where we treat our patients like family.
Join Mike Rice Auctions and Wholesales every Tuesday night for a live auction, and you can bid from the comfort of your own home. Each week, Mike has a whole selection of auction items. Maybe you're a business that needs a liquidation sale. Or maybe you're in charge of an estate and don't know what to do with all you got. Talk to Mike Rice Auctions about an estate sale. Let Mike turn these items into cash for you. Your next deal is waiting for you at Mike Rice Auctions and Wholesale this Tuesday night, live on Facebook at 6:30. Again, I remind you about the traffic holdup that we've got on Highway 45 North, a wreck involving a pedestrian and person there. And I was double checking to make sure of any updates with the road there. Let me double check here one more. Yeah, everything is still at this point closed northbound lane. Let's go to radar this morning as we head over to Meridian Honda to take a look here at what we've got on radar this morning. As you'll see, we're not actually picking up any fog in the state of Mississippi. It is slightly mentioned in the forecast that there could be somewhere you are, in those low-lying areas. But as we look to Alexandria, Louisiana, we got a hint of it, but we have to go over to Valdosta as we get into Douglasville. Ooh, boy, look at this. Waycross, these areas here, full of fog this morning up through these areas there. Athens, Georgia. Be careful. And, of course, the Carolinas always having a bunch there. And Springfield, I saw somebody that was watching from Illinois this morning. We got it here at Springfield. As we look at all of these areas, a little bit of rain up in Kentucky if you've got to travel north or you're trying to get back home. A few showers out here to the west and San Antonio as well. Now, this is going to be something that we're watching here. What is all of this? We've got two of these that now we've got one here that's at 80%. As you'll see, this is going to miss the Mississippi Gulf Coast. This will head to the eastern coast and probably bring a lot of rain for the Labor Day weekend. We have another one that is starting back here right off the coast of the Africa at 40%. We'll take a look here in just a moment as to what the National Weather Service tells us of how serious these storms can be, of where they rank these. We're hoping all of this will fade away. But September is looking to be quite the month when it comes to the tropics. Y'all be prepared for that if hurricane season is just really getting started. Now, let's get into the forecast.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
As we look at our record highs, record lows, back in 2000, it was 104 today. If you'll remember, yesterday in 2000 was a record setter at 106, so it did drop a little bit. Record low still goes back to 1891 when it was set at 50 degrees on this date. As we look at today's forecast, Meridian looks to be 91. And again, this is a 60% chance of rain today. Mostly, as we look around here, western side of Newton County through Scott, areas of Philadelphia, areas of Kemper County and Winston County having a larger chance of rain there. Even Quitman gets in there at that 60%. As we move across to Alabama, we'll see that the Tuscaloosa area, 92 for high there. We're looking at 90 over at Livingston, and chances of rain from Birmingham, that line there. The eastern half of Alabama looks to be not as heavy as other portions. As we look at temperatures over the next 6 to 10 days, as we look at these normal temperatures and this cool spell that is still coming, that's going to keep us into the 80s for roughly 6 to 10 days. And then, look at that. That is hot, hot, hot making its way across America. It hadn't got here yet. We'll look to that. Now, let's get into our 7-day forecast as we break it down to let you kind of know what's happening. Today, we expect a 60% chance of showers, mainly between 3 to 5 p.m., and it could even be quicker, about 4:30 be out of the area. Otherwise, it's going to be sunshine, and you probably will have a chance there to get a little grass cut as it's grown. Heat index value will jump from 90 to 98. It's going to be a warm day right at the 100-degree mark. As we go into tonight, this will decrease to a 30% chance of showers. That should end by 8 o'clock. Low tonight, right around 72. As we get into tomorrow, look at this. Mostly sunny and 92. That's smidgens of chance. We're just going to say it's going to be sunny tomorrow, 91. The same goes for Thursday as temperatures heat up there. As we get into the weekend, rain moves back into the forecast once again, with Friday having a 60% chance, Saturday 70, and even after church on Sunday, we still have that 60% chance of showers. Labor Day, look at that. As we'll hopefully you'll get that day off and have a 3-day weekend. Rain in the forecast. We'll watch this as it gets closer. Now, let's jump ahead as we showed you there, that little cool snap that is there, keeping these temperatures at 83 to 84 degrees, not getting any higher than the mid-80s. That's nice weather, but we still have rain chances. But be on the lookout as this passes. We see that we do have another hot front or heat wave moving towards us. Now, this is what we're looking at, and we'll watch all of this as we pull this up. As we look at the National Hurricane Center this morning, they're rating this at 80%. And as we looked at spaghetti models, this is headed directly toward the coast here, the eastern coast. At this point, it's not really known where this is going. We're going to watch this This is posing no threat at this point to the Gulf. All of these two that we saw here yesterday trying to develop went away. Again, everything kind of there. We'll know more about this after 8 o'clock as the National Hurricane Center updates information about this. We'll know a little bit more and how it will affect. So we're looking like it may be okay here, but the eastern coast of the United States definitely is going to have a wet time when it comes to Labor Day weekend. As we look to the fishing forecast, what happens today? Well, let's pull it up, and we find out from Chet's Paint and Body the best time to hit it out this afternoon to fish will be at 3:30 this afternoon until 5:30. So let's call it 3 to 6. Give you a little extra time there. Sunset's going to be at 7:29 tonight. The wind is going to be light west, becoming west-northwest 5 to 10. That's what we've got when it comes to that. Again, that's a wrap of what we've got going on this morning in the local area and a glimpse at what's happening nationwide. We'll have a lot more details on all of this coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. I hope you'll join us. We'll be right here at Facebook. We'll be at YouTube, and also we'll be going live on television at Fox 30. You can be a part of it, and love to read your comments. We say good morning to Sheila Bounds joining us from Nebraska. Hope everything is going well there. Philadelphia, Patty Rickles, how are you? Sandy, she's watching from the Illinois area. Matthew Wright out in Collinsville. Got a lot of people. Derek Bell, good to see you there. All over. Again, from Union, Kathy Sharp. We appreciate y'all so much. Again, we'll be back. Remember, we've got an accident. Highway 45 North in Meridian there in front of the CEFCO. Northbound lane is blocked by the Mississippi Highway Patrol. This cleanup as first responders are on the scene of an accident that involves a person and a vehicle. They've been taken by ambulance to a hospital, and we do hope everyone is okay. That's as much as we know about conditions at this point. Y'all be careful. We'll have more to follow as we begin this day. And as always, inbox us, let us know what's happening in your neighborhood so we can share the information with others. Thank y'all so much, and we'll be back shortly in just about an hour and 1 minute from now. We'll come back live. Thank you so much.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: